Hello, and welcome to the inaugural Tech Accelerator Mastering Azure and AI Adoption event. We're excited to be here today to share how Microsoft and AMD are helping customers successfully adopt Azure. I'm Uli Hohmann, Corporate Vice President of the Microsoft Cloud and AI Engineering team. Throughout this event, Microsoft and AMD experts will take you through technical best practices, demonstrating how to make Azure projects reliable, secure, and capable of delivering ongoing performance. The sessions today and tomorrow will dive deeper into the following topics: how to govern, manage, and secure your AI deployments with Microsoft services and tools, the guidance and tools you need to securely migrate on-premises workloads, the benefits of AMD infrastructure during your Azure adoption, how to build and modernize secure and reliable AI applications on Azure, the tools you need to design resiliency into Azure workloads and environments, and how to protect your Azure workloads from security threats. We're looking forward to sharing these sessions with you, but first I'll briefly explain Microsoft's approach to help customers successfully adopt the cloud and AI, Azure Essentials. Then Rom and I will share some of the best practice that we have seen recently from Microsoft and AMD customers as they have improved workload reliability, security, and efficiency in their organizations. I want to start with Azure Essentials because this approach to cloud adoption is pervasive across all common business scenarios, and you will see these concepts appear throughout many of today's sessions. Microsoft has worked with thousands of customers facing a multitude of challenges throughout their cloud and AI adoption. Security and privacy risks, increased cloud complexity resulting from more advanced workloads, and managing cloud costs, to name a few. To help customers elevate reliability and security in their environments and workloads, we have consolidated these learnings from these customer engagements and encapsulated them within Azure Essentials. Azure Essentials brings together proven guidance, practical resources, and tooling in a single place to help you improve the reliability, security, and ongoing performance of Azure workloads. We have tailored the guidance and resources across common scenarios so that you can easily access the information for your specific business needs. Whether you're migrating, building, or modernizing applications, or have existing Azure workloads already, Azure Essentials incorporates best practices from the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework and the Azure Well-Architected Framework. Prepare your environment to accelerate secure, reliable cloud adoption and efficiently, confidently design, build, and manage, optimize Azure workloads. The Azure Essentials approach to cloud adoption has three main categories that tend to progress from one to the next. This slide represents the three stages adopting Azure at scale. Readiness and foundation includes guidance on the financial, skilling, and overall organizational concerns of adoption. Design and govern is about designing and building workloads that adhere to policies set forth by a central governance model and specific requirements for the given workload. Manage and optimize includes guidance on operating workloads once they are in production. It's about driving continuous improvement by streamlining and updating operating processes, optimizing costs, and conducting resiliency security reviews. Of course, security is a consideration in all categories. Each category treats security within the context of its own objectives. Within each of these categories, the Azure Essentials Resource Kit includes a multitude of links to Microsoft resources and tools to assist you as you focus on the areas you need to improve the most. All right, you have seen how Microsoft is committed to helping customers design and operate their workloads on Azure through Azure Essentials. One of the key ways we support customers is through partnerships such as the one Microsoft has with AMD. Rom, thanks for joining this event today. Perhaps you can share a bit more about the long-standing relationship that AMD has with Microsoft.
Thanks, Uli. We're happy to be part of this event, and I know those tuning in will learn a great deal from the detailed sessions ahead. I want to give a brief bit of context about the AMD and Microsoft relationship and why it matters to Azure users and prospective customers. For those who may not know, AMD is the leader in high-performance computing, delivering technologies that accelerate the full range of compute you need to solve problems and drive your business forward. AMD has a rich history of partnership with Microsoft, from the PC to custom silicon for Xbox, and on to high-performance computing, and now AI on Azure. AMD launched our cloud business with Azure in 2019 with the first-generation EPYC processor powering storage-focused VMs. Since then, we've launched 40 more VM types across 4 EPYC generations, ranging from general purpose to AI, confidential computing, supercomputing, and visualization, with many more on the way. Azure customers can find AMD-based infrastructure across the world in nearly every single public region. That's the baseline infrastructure on which many Azure SaaS and Microsoft services themselves are running, from Microsoft SQL Server to Azure OpenAI Service. In fact, what we're most excited about for 2025 is helping Azure users make the most out of their infrastructure choices. Whether it's the recently launched general purpose V6 VMs based on our 4th gen EPYC, or with the Instinct MI300X for AI workloads, which is AMD's fastest ever ramping product, which launched in the cloud first on Azure. You'll hear more about that later today from Andrew Ruffin on my team in his session. When it comes to how this applies to Azure Essentials, your choice of where to land your workloads on Azure makes a difference. For readiness and foundation, it's about choosing the base infrastructure that will best meet your financial needs. For design and govern, it's about knowing your workload and where it will run best. And for manage and optimize, it's about monitoring your performance and updating to the best available infrastructure whenever you can. Put it all together, and when you choose AMD, you reduce your cloud OpEx spend, and you're then able to reinvest those savings into AI and other critical business needs. And finally, as Uli said, security is an important element across the board. And our two companies collaborate deeply on enabling confidential computing for Microsoft itself and Azure customers across compute and AI VMs.
Thanks, Ron. It's really great to talk with you today and reflect on our shared history. And as you know, there are many customers that successfully implement Azure best practices, often leveraging AMD-based infrastructure. In the spirit of Azure Essentials and enabling customer success, Rom and I would like to share some key instances of times when we have seen Microsoft and AMD customers successfully improve performance and efficiency by leveraging Microsoft and AMD best practices and solutions. To start, I want to share the experience of two customers that have leveraged best practices within the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework when they migrated from on-premises to Azure. The first one I want to talk about is Swiss Re. Swiss Re is a reinsurance company whose goal was to make their cloud operations fast, agile, and dependable so they could innovate and scale, as well as create new products and services. They want to create a cloud-based core operating platform to optimize their IT services for a cloud-native approach, and chose Azure to take advantage of the security, standardization, and sustainability benefits. How they did it? It's very simple in a nutshell, but complicated, obviously, because it's a rich environment, lots of regulatory rules to be thought about, because it's an insurance company. So the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework was the basis for how they established the foundation for this cloud. In addition to using the Cloud Adoption Framework, they established a Cloud Center of Excellence. This Cloud Center of Excellence approach is a fantastic idea to effectively allow the company to structure and centralize their cloud know-how to get going and build effectively a group of people that become the champions for cloud adoption. This cloud adoption will include security, DevSecOps, compliance, and other areas that are super important for this kind of thinking, so that at the end of the day, you have the know-how and the talent that can then go and distribute themselves into the organization to help scale the program. And with this Cloud Adoption Framework, coupled with the human element of the Cloud Center of Excellence, Swiss Re was able to become more agile after identifying the skills gaps within the organization and filling them with a tailored training program, and effectively leveraging the CCOE to deliver this or augment the scales capabilities that were necessary in order to make this work. The outcome of this environment and capability is improved reliability and security because the CCOA, using the Cloud Adoption Framework, was effectively able to standardize security policy, to standardize reliability models into templates and tools that effectively allowed Swiss Re to improve their IT productivity by 40% within the first 3 years. And it led to greater agility and subsequent innovation in their businesses because they had resources like the CCOE available to help those businesses understand how to leverage the cloud at best in a structured and reliable fashion. Another Microsoft customer that I want to chat about is Howdens. Howdens is the #1 trade kitchen supplier based in the UK, and they wanted to hone their business model to enable trade customers to get the detailed product information they needed right as they needed it. Howdens' goal was to develop a digital tool using generative AI to improve the support model for their customers. How did they do it? A key question that Howden faced was, how do I apply generative AI? In this case, they wanted to use the Azure OpenAI service in a way that allowed me to become productive, resilient, and secure at the same time. And they had obviously other capabilities that were needed, like Azure Cosmos DB as a vector store, applied search as another augmenting vector store, so that at the end of the day, you can build an entire Gen AI system building smart applications. A lot of times you see customers failing to really create the right model. In fact, 87% of customers that start an AI project don't manage to finish it, simply because the organization, coordination, and necessary setup to drive security and resilience into the system were not available. Howden used the well-architected framework AI Foundry capability to effectively put together an end-to-end model so that you can go and leverage the know-how that was built into the Cloud Adoption Framework and the well-architected framework for AI to effectively land that zone. One specific detail that I want to share is using the Azure OpenAI landing zone, which is a specialization within the all-up Azure landing zone concept that is part of the Cloud Adoption Framework. The results are very impressive. They have reached and were able to drive improved customer efficiency. They increased the productivity in their depots so that at the end of the day, a lot of more product can ship to the right customer with the right benefits. Rom, would you like to share some stories of how AMD customers have found success with Azure?
Thanks, Uli. Let me start with AMD ourselves. At AMD, we drink our own champagne by using our leading-edge technical computing solutions on Azure. Most notably, for quite some time now, we've leveraged Azure for some of our most complex electronic design automation workloads. If you're not familiar with EDA, it's essentially part of the design process for making our new generation of semiconductor chips. We leveraged our knowledge along with Azure Engineering's design expertise to create and launch 5 different types of H-series VMs, a highly unique and differentiating offer in Azure. In fact, we've just announced that we'll be launching together the custom design later this year known as HP V5. When it comes to EDA, we have leveraged the HP series quite a bit to process our product designs, taking advantage of Azure's ability to scale up and down with Azure Cycle Cloud, as well as Azure Storage Solutions, tailored to bringing data to compute quickly and efficiently. The Azure Global Black Belts, your best experts in solving customer problems, have been a great ally in helping others in our industry to do the same on Azure. My next example is a Fortune 500 bank that has recently evaluated their workloads on Azure and realized they would achieve significant savings if they moved to AMD V5 and V6 VMs from a competitive V5 option. This is resulting in the migration of nearly 1.5 million vCPUs this year alone, starting with smaller dev test environments and then moving to general workloads. Companies like this one deliver their services using Azure for their compute, reduce costs while they adopt AMD instances, while at the same time improving performance, and that leads directly for better customer experience and improved margins. This is one of many examples we have of customers choosing AMD to reduce their OpEx, take those savings, and reinvest those into AI.
Thanks, Ron. I would like to close with one last story of a customer that has successfully driven an enhanced reliability of their Azure workloads. The University of Miami is located at the southern tip of Florida in an area known as Hurricane Alley. Their goal was to prevent the inevitable extreme weather-related outages for their students, faculty, and staff. During the migration from on-premises to the cloud, the university chose Azure to deliver the reliable technology services that the campus needed. How did they do it? The University of Miami key staff followed guidance within the Azure well-architected framework, in particular, the multi-zone redundancy capability. Multi-zone redundancy simply means that the architecture that the university chose is a redundant local and cloud data centers with VMs supported by Azure availability zones in both East and West US regions of Azure. Everything was built redundant, including versions of Azure ExpressRoute, providing connectivity from their on-premise data center to the Azure region, and redundant providers on separate routers with respect to this network capability. Now, the guys at University of Miami were able to reduce the cost because they're leveraging the pay-per-use structure that Azure provides. They benefited from scalable compute and storage scenarios, and they realized greater savings by incorporating server reservations into some of their projects. The result, although they live in Hurricane Alley, they now have improved disaster recovery capabilities, ensuring that their services to their students, faculty will always be available. And they were able to do so, although increasing the reliability significantly with greater agility and way reduced costs. Well, that takes us to the close of this section. Ram, thank you for joining me today. It was great to reflect on how customers are enhancing their Azure and AI workloads with Microsoft and AMD. We have prepared a great event for you all today, packed with practical guidance and demonstrations of how to successfully adopt AI and build AI apps, achieve secure migration, choose the right workload infrastructure, design, deploy, and monitor resilient workloads, and protect and secure your workloads from threats. Thank you for joining, and please continue watching for more great sessions to come.